the...
So, here, let me see.
socket in the office today. So this is the breaker, is to remove the cover plate. And you will just use your screwdriver to remove it into the screw. Find a screw somewhere in your junk. Attach that. And hey guys, I'm Tommy. My channel is Tommy Can Fix It. I'm going to show you how to fix random things around your house so that you don't have to spend all the money of paying a plumber, electrician, hundreds of dollars for things you could do for a few dollars yourself. Before you start any electrical project, you need to make sure that the power is off to the room or area that you are working on. To do that, you need to use a digital voltmeter and set it to AC, which is alternating current, which is what comes out of the wall and comes to your house. Put it on 200 or whatever setting is between 200 and like 150, whatever yours might say, because it's going to register up to that, and your socket should only read about 120 volts. Because that's what we're working with today. To test your socket for a current, you will insert the leads, and when you see 119, 120, it is live. So you will need to shut off the power, which typically at the breaker box is where you want to do that. Alright, so you'll want to make sure that your panel box is labeled correctly for all the rooms in your home. We are working on the socket in the office today. So this is the breaker we want to turn off. You will flip it to the off position, which is away from the center of the panel. On, off, and now we will go test the socket again and make sure that the power is off. Our next step will be to remove the cover plate from the socket. To do so, you just take out this screw. It is a flathead or slotted screw, and you will use a flathead screwdriver to do so, or if you happen to have one, you can use a power drill with a flathead bit. This screw is not in very tight, so it can be removed with just a couple of turns of the screwdriver. And now we have our next step. Next step, you will need to remove the screws that hold the socket to the junction box. And the junction box is usually the box that's in the wall that sockets and switches are attached to and where all the wires meet. So there are two screws, one at the top and one at the bottom. And you will just use your screwdriver to remove those. And sometimes you will have where they have been painted to the wall. That will come off once you loosen and go to remove your socket. That is not a big deal, but you just get under one side of it and pop it loose, and then it comes right out. So in older homes and older sockets, the wires are inserted into the back of the socket. To remove them, just take your pliers and pull them out one at a time. You may have to wiggle them just a little bit because sometimes they've been there a while and they take a little bit of effort, but they should come right out. Now you will see all of the wires that are in the box. You should have two white and two black. If you are still uncomfortable or not comfortable enough, you can also take out your voltmeter again and just double check the wires to make sure that they are not live. So we are still getting nothing. One black, one white, black to black, white to red, and we're still registering 0. So there is no power to these wires. Next, you will get everything in position to attach your new socket, which has spaces and screws on the sides to add the wires, as opposed to inserts in the back, which are there. You can do if you choose. I prefer the screws on the sides. It just makes it easier for removal next time. So you want all your whites on one side and the blacks on the other. So you will take your pliers and just bend a small notch or loop right at the end of the wire. And next step, you will attach your wires. Just loop the end of your wire around the screw. Take your screwdriver and tighten it up. And just keep tightening until you feel it snug. And you will do this for all 4 wires. Slide the wire under the head of the screw and tighten it up. And you will do the same thing to the other side and tighten it up as well. That is my dog in the other room. He's not happy that he is not in here helping. And then the last one. And make sure it's snug. Once all of them are attached, and then this next step is only if you have 2 wires, the white and the black, and you do not have a ground. You want to get a piece of wire, probably 14 gauge, which is usually standard, and you need to ground your socket. So find a screw somewhere in your junction box. There's usually one in there, and just tighten that screw up around the wire, and then put the other end around the green screw, which is your ground. Just get it bent just a little bit to fit. And tighten it up. Some of the newer homes will already have the ground wire in the wire bundle, so you will still just ground it. Just take that wire out and hook it to your socket, and then that's it for that step. After that, it's putting it back together. Gently just push it in and line up your screws so you can screw it back to the box. Just continue attaching the socket, making sure it is even and snug. And then the next step is to reattach the cover plate. Once you have reattached your cover plate, your final step is to turn the breaker back on and test to see if you have power going to your socket. So we will go turn the breaker back on now and then come back and test this. Alright, and once you have turned the breaker back on, test your socket again. Make sure that you get more than that. 120 volts, which means you connected it correctly and all your current is flowing properly, and that is how you change an electrical socket.